Hi guys, I'm Lena Smith, and I recently read an article called Preparing for Cultural Diversity, Resources for Teachers. In that article, I learned a lot of things that I did not know before, and I found out how to do some things that I did not know how to do before. And I also figured out some things that I can teach my peers, other teachers in the field. The first thing that I want to address, in order to understand this article, we need to talk about culture. Lustig and Koester defined culture as a learned set of shared interpretations about beliefs, values, and norms which affect behaviors in a group of people. Another view of culture is through Samover and Porter, who called culture a medium that touches and alters all aspects of life, including personality, expression, the way they think, movement, and their problem solving. So, understanding culture, let's move on to what I know from these articles. Because although I said it was an article, it was actually an article that had links to many other articles, that had links to other articles, and I read all of them. So now I can effectively engage students from diverse backgrounds by communicating with them and their parents, by integrating activities that focus on what students consider to be the most important dimensions of their own identity, like the My Cultural Self activity that was in the edchange.org website. I can create opportunities for students to role play and share stories about diversity situations and how to handle them. I can also create a classroom environment that reflects diversity, equity, and justice. Using instructional strategies that supports diverse learning styles will help me do all of these things. I know now, because of the website learningforjustice.org, that culturally responsive classroom culture exists when students are seen, valued, cared for, and respected as their full selves. To do this, I need to understand students' home lives, assuming good intentions. That's super important when you're talking to parents, is to assume the good intentions with a sense of cultural humility, because we don't know what that culture is like. And just because we experience our own culture in a specific way does not mean that their culture is any less, just different, and we need to approach that with a sense of humility. Another thing that I can do is incorporate family and community wisdom into the classroom. I can do that by having guest speakers, by having students bring in memoirs from their families. I can have video projects assigned to students. I can have students and parents come in and talk about their favorite games as children, their favorite toys when they were children, bring in generational stories, generational recipes. And by using these tools, I can nurture children's identities. And by doing so, I'm encouraging their culture in the classroom as opposed to assimilating them into my own culture. This helps them create their own identities, their own connections, and their own values. I can help this happen by creating time in class as well for examining their values, their attitudes, their standards of behavior, their language, their race, their class, their gender, their values, and their beliefs. Through this, I can hope to reveal individual strengths that perhaps I would not have recognized without them. I can help my fellow teachers accomplish this and learn about this by encouraging them to reflect on their attitudes and those attitudes of their students to ensure that they don't reinforce assumptions of stereotypes. With 1 in 9 students in America right now being English language learners, it's important to acquire cultural competence, which can be achieved through observations, experiences, and interactions. You can be aware of different cultures. You need to be aware of their ways of knowing, of their ways of solving problems, non-verbal communication, which can be different than your own, their way of learning, and their ways of dealing with conflict, also their different use of symbols. Okay, all of this can be incorporated and boils down to parent relations. If you have parent relations, you can more easily bring in culture and diversity into your classroom because you will be listening to discover family pedagogy, their faith, their hopes, their struggles, and while doing this, you need to take their spiritual lives seriously. In doing so, you can bridge the school-home gap and more easily validate culturally diverse students and families. One way to help that parent-teacher relationship so that you can bring those cultures into the classroom is to call families with achievements and updates on their child, is to email parents, send audio and visual messages to the families. And when you're speaking with the parents, make sure you use phrases like, "Can you help me understand?" Or, "What would you like me to do to resolve this issue?" When you involve parents, you listen to their vocabulary, and you understand family structures, and you embrace their family values, you can create a more diverse classroom. And in so doing, help your students. So, I hope that this video has helped you understand the article, Preparing for Cultural Diversity, Resources for Teachers, and also make you think about diversity and culture in your classroom. Thank you.